Joining the conversation, we have Pulitzer Prize-winning author and presidential historian Doris Kearns Goodwin, co-founder and CEO of All In Together, Lauren Leader, White House correspondent for Politico and co-author of The Playbook. Eugene Daniels is with us. Great group this hour, along with me and Jonathan.
Trump, Biden. We know there's a lot of polling out there. Americans unhappy with this race, but this is what it's going to be. And the Biden camp suggests that even if there are voters out there who don't really like either man, they'll recognize, Lauren, that Donald Trump is simply an unacceptable option. So the stakes here are really high. And Biden aides have been telling me consistently that they think they acknowledge there are real risks here for President Biden, but also real opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, look, the expectations in some ways are so low of the president. You know, he's constantly underestimated, and we saw that in the State of the Union, this sort of surprise from people that, yes, he's confident and energetic and can show up and talk about the issues in ways that connect, and he can call out Republicans when they heckle him in the middle of the chamber. The Republicans then turn this around to be, you know, this ridiculous conspiracy theory that somehow he was on drugs and that was the only way he could do that. But I think when it comes to, like, some of the core policy issues, I think there's no question. They're both going to be challenged on this. And, you know, you can't not ask Trump, you know, do you still believe in criminalizing women for, you know, for getting abortions? Are you proud? Are you still proud of what what Dobbs has wrought when millions of women are now denied health care? Do you think, one question I hope they'll ask, and I suspect Deanna Bash may ask something like this, which is, should women be turned away from hospitals when they're facing life-threatening consequences of, complications from pregnancy? Like, they're very simple questions to ask but Trump that paint a very clear picture about where he is. And I think Americans have sort of forgotten in some ways. We've tuned him out.
So, Lauren Leader, I want to jump now to New York politics, which you know well. Talk a little bit about what happened last night. Jamal Bowman's loss, John Avlon's win.
I've been dying to talk about this, so I'm really glad to have the opportunity. So, as you know, I served in public office in Westchester County. George Latimer was one of the very first people that I met when I started doing New York politics. Why? Because George Latimer has spent decades doing nothing but the most sort of grassroots shoe leather politics you can imagine. And it's really important to remember, especially today, as so many people are blaming the outside money from AIPAC, and a lot of progressives on Twitter this morning have been railing against, you know, the outside interests, et cetera. It's dead wrong. The reality is that George wound up getting endorsed by local communities all over Westchester. Why? Because he's shown up for those communities year after year, day after day. This is a guy who works 7 days a week, never misses a meeting, never misses a parade, is at everything and knows the district inside and out. And Jamal Bowman, by contrast, I think is like a playbook in what not to do as a new congressman, right? He was very detached from the district. He didn't come to events. He voted against the infrastructure bill, which was fundamental to Westchester. There were a lot of big infrastructure projects that needed to be funded. He didn't know people. And, you know, I'll just say on a personal level, like, he came to see me when I was elected, and instead of asking what he could do to serve me and serve my community, wanted me to just raise money for him and told me that he could win any race in New York, and just sort of, it was all bluster. And I think, you know, you can blame AIPAC if you want. Obviously, there was a lot of outside money, but at the end of the day, this was a real grassroots campaign. George knocked on literally every Democratic door in Westchester. So I really want to, like, put down the nonsense that somehow this election was bought. It was not. George did the work.
Yeah, Bowman tried to nationalize the race and obviously didn't work here.